The Galactic Union's council chamber was a place of cold logic and endless discussion. It was a massive hall, filled with representatives from hundreds of alien species. They sat in rows of floating seats, arranged in a perfect circle, their voices blending into a steady hum of debate. At the center, the High Chancellor of the Union, a tall, insect-like being with shimmering golden eyes, raised a clawed hand to silence the crowd. The matter of humanity must be settled today, the High Chancellor declared, her voice calm yet firm. For too long, we have argued. Some say humans should be welcomed as equals. Others say they are too dangerous. We must decide. A deep voice rumbled through the chamber. There is nothing to discuss. Humans are a threat to all of us. The speaker was a massive reptilian alien, General Krovik of the Dralkarn Empire. His scales shimmered under the artificial lights as he folded his muscular arms. They come from a death world. Their history is filled with war and destruction. We cannot trust them. A small bird-like alien fluttered its wings nervously. But they have also built great civilizations, it countered. They explore, they create, they help weaker species. They help only when it benefits them. Krovik interrupted. They are unpredictable. They adapt too quickly. Give them another century, and they will be unstoppable. We must contain them now before it is too late. A murmur of agreement spread through the chamber. Many species feared humanity's rapid rise. Less than 200 years ago, humans were unknown to the galaxy. Now they had already claimed several planets, established trade routes, and even won battles against pirates and hostile empires. Their ability to survive and thrive in impossible conditions made them unique and terrifying. A different voice spoke, calm and analytical. It belonged to a machine-like alien with a body of sleek metal and glowing blue eyes. We must be logical, it said. Human potential is undeniable, but so is their aggression. We should place restrictions on their expansion. It is the safest option. A tall plant-like being leaned forward. But would that not make them our enemies? It asked. If we try to control them, will they not resist? The debate went on, growing more heated. Some wanted to restrict humanity, others wanted to welcome them, and a few even suggested wiping them out before they became too powerful. But no agreement was reached. The High Chancellor let out a slow breath. We must vote soon, she said. But before we do, there is an unusual request. The chamber fell silent. A human diplomat has arrived, she continued. He has asked to speak before us. A ripple of surprise spread through the council. It was rare for non-members to be allowed inside, and even rarer for them to address the council directly. What could a single Deathworlder possibly say to change our minds? Krovik scoffed. The High Chancellor turned her golden eyes toward the great doors at the end of the chamber. We shall see. At her signal, the doors slid open, and for the first time in history, a human stepped into the Galactic Union's most powerful room. The massive doors of the council chamber slid open with a low hum. Every eye in the room turned toward the entrance. Footsteps echoed against the polished floor as a single human walked inside. He did not hesitate. He did not bow. He moved with calm confidence, his gaze sweeping over the gathered alien leaders. Captain Elias Vance was not a politician. He was a former soldier, now serving as a diplomat. He had faced battlefields filled with fire and death. But this, standing before the most powerful beings in the galaxy, was something else entirely. Still, fear had no place in his heart. He had come here to speak for his people, and he would not fail. The High Chancellor studied him with her golden eyes. State your name and purpose, human. Elias nodded. Captain Elias Vance, representative of the Terran Confederation. I have come to speak on behalf of my people. A deep chuckle came from one of the larger aliens. General Krovik, the Dralkarn warlord, leaned forward with an amused expression. You stand here alone, human. Do you think a single Deathworlder's words will change the fate of your species? Elias met the reptilian's gaze without flinching. That depends. Are your minds already made up, Or do you still have the courage to listen? A murmur spread through the chamber. Some aliens looked intrigued. Others looked annoyed. The High Chancellor tapped her clawed fingers together. You may speak, Captain Vance, but choose your words carefully. Elias took a slow breath, then began. You see us as a threat. I understand why. Humanity comes from a harsh world. Our history is filled with war, struggle, and survival. But if that is all you see, then you do not truly understand us. The chamber remained silent. Some listened with curiosity, others with skepticism. We are survivors, yes, but we are also builders, explorers, and dreamers. We do not just conquer. We create. We do not just fight. We protect. When the Zorvith raiders attacked the Kellen outposts, who stood beside your people in battle? Elias asked, glancing toward a group of bird-like aliens. The Kellen representative shifted in its seat. The humans, it admitted. Elias nodded. When the false plague spread across the core worlds, who risked their lives to bring medicine to the infected. A tall, plant-like alien tilted its head. The humans, it confirmed. And when the Grakenor fleet threatened your colonies, Elias continued, turning toward Krovik, who fought beside your warriors, despite being outnumbered. Krovik growled but did not answer. Everyone knew the truth. The humans had fought side by side with the Dralkarn forces, turning the tide of battle. We are not perfect, Elias admitted. We make mistakes. We have our flaws. But we are more than just a species from a death world. We are your allies. We are your friends. And if you try to contain us, if you try to control us, you will not only make us your enemy, you will lose the chance to have the greatest ally you could ever know. Silence filled the room. Then a voice broke the stillness. Words mean nothing in the face of strength. Krovik rumbled. If you truly believe humans are worthy of standing among us, then prove it. Elias raised an eyebrow. And how would you like me to do that? Krovik bared his sharp teeth. A challenge, a duel. If you can stand against a true warrior, then perhaps your people deserve respect. Some of the council members murmured in agreement. Others looked uncertain. The idea of a duel was primitive, but in many warrior cultures, it was a valid test of strength. Elias sighed, rolling his shoulders. You want to fight? He met Krovik's gaze with a calm, steady look. Fine. I accept. The room erupted into noise. Some were shocked. Others were excited. The High Chancellor raised a hand. Then it is decided. The duel will take place tomorrow. She turned to Elias. If you win, the Council will reconsider its stance on humanity. Elias simply nodded. He had faced worse odds before. The fate of his people now rested on his ability to fight. The news of the duel spread through the Galactic Union like wildfire. Every species in the Council had its eyes on the coming battle. A human, a so-called Deathworlder, had accepted a challenge from General Krovik, one of the most feared warriors in the galaxy. Many believed the outcome was already decided. In the training arena beneath the council chamber, Elias Vance prepared himself. He stood in front of a large mirror, rolling his shoulders, stretching his arms. His reflection showed a man with sharp eyes, a strong stance, and a mind focused on the battle ahead. He had fought in wars, survived ambushes, and faced death many times. But this was different. He was not fighting for himself. He was fighting for humanity's future. A small floating drone hovered nearby, projecting the image of a Kellen diplomat. The same bird-like alien who had spoken in the council. Captain Vance, the Kellen chirped. Do you understand the danger you face? Krovik is not just a warrior. He has crushed enemies twice your size. His people believe in strength above all else. He will not hold back. Elias smirked. Good. Neither will I. The drone hesitated. Many believe humans are strong. But this duel, this is madness. Maybe, Elias admitted. But sometimes you have to take a risk. Otherwise, you'll always be seen as weak. The drone buzzed anxiously but said no more. The Arena of Honor. The next day, the arena was packed with alien spectators. The council members sat in an elevated section, watching with great interest. Some were curious, others simply wanted to see the human fail. Elias stepped onto the battleground, a large circular space covered in metallic plating. The walls shimmered with energy barriers, ensuring no one could escape until the fight was over. He was dressed in light combat armor, flexible enough to move freely but strong enough to absorb some damage. Across from him, General Krovic entered. He was massive, nearly 8 feet tall, covered in thick reptilian scales. His arms were packed with muscle, his claws sharp, his eyes burning with confidence. In one hand, he carried a heavy war staff, a weapon designed to break bones with a single strike. A robotic voice echoed through the arena. The duel will begin. Rules: no killing. Fight until surrender or incapacitation. Krovic grinned, showing sharp teeth. You should surrender now, human. It will save you much pain. Elias rolled his neck, loosening his joints. I think I'll take my chances. The signal sounded. The duel had begun. Speed vs strength. Krovic moved first, charging like a living battering ram. His war staff swung through the air with incredible force. Elias barely dodged, feeling the wind from the attack rush past his face. The weapon struck the ground with a loud boom, cracking the metal beneath it. Elias didn't waste time. He countered with a quick strike to Krovic's ribs, his fist landing with solid impact. But the Dralkarn barely flinched. Krovic smirked. You hit like a child. Elias didn't respond. He knew brute force wouldn't work. Instead, he relied on speed. He dodged the next attack, rolled to the side, and struck again, this time at the joints, the weak points between Krovic's scales. The reptilian warrior growled in annoyance but remained standing. For several minutes they fought, a deadly dance of speed versus power. Krovic's attacks were devastating, but Elias was faster, more precise. The arena echoed with the sound of metal striking flesh, of grunts and growls. But Elias was not unscathed. A single misstep led to a glancing blow from Krovic's staff, sending him skidding across the floor. Pain shot through his side, but he forced himself up. He couldn't afford to stay down. Krovic laughed. You have heart, human, but heart does not win battles. Elias wiped blood from his lip and smiled. No, but intelligence does. Krovic frowned. What? Before he could finish, Elias made his move. He had studied Krovic's attacks, his movements. He saw the pattern, the small openings between the powerful strikes. And now he exploited them. The next time Krovic swung his staff, Elias ducked low and launched himself forward. His fist slammed into Krovic's knee, a direct hit to a weak spot. The reptilian warrior roared in pain, staggering. Elias didn't stop. He struck again and again, targeting joints, muscles, pressure points. He wasn't trying to overpower Krovic. He was breaking him down. Finally, with a powerful strike to the side of Krovic's head, the great warrior stumbled back and fell to one knee. He panted, his body trembling. The arena fell silent. Elias stood tall, breathing hard. Yield, he said firmly. Krovic looked up at him, fury in his eyes. But then, after a long moment, he did the unthinkable. He dropped his weapon. I yield, he growled. The arena remained silent for a few seconds after General Krovic's surrender. Then, murmurs turned into whispers, whispers turned into voices, and voices became a roar of disbelief. Across the council chamber, alien representatives leaned toward each other, discussing what had just happened. A human, a so-called weak species, had just defeated one of the galaxy's strongest warriors. Krovic pushed himself up from his knee and stared at Elias with a mixture of frustration and something else. Respect. You fought well, human, he admitted. Better than I expected. Elias, still breathing heavily, gave a small nod. You too. I'd rather not do this again anytime soon. The High Chancellor stood from her elevated seat, raising a clawed hand. Instantly, the noise faded, and all eyes turned to her. "The duel has ended," she announced. "Captain Elias Vance of humanity has emerged victorious. By our agreement, the Council must reconsider its stance on the human species." A wave of mixed reactions spread through the chamber. Some council members looked annoyed. Others were thoughtful. A few even seemed impressed. Krovik stepped forward, his heavy footsteps echoing. "I will keep my word," he said, his deep voice carrying across the room. "The Dralkarn Empire will withdraw its demand to restrict human expansion. They have proven their strength, and strength must be respected." This statement caused even more discussion among the council members. The Kellen representative, the small bird-like alien who had spoken before, fluttered its wings. "Strength alone is not enough," it said. "We must also consider wisdom, diplomacy, and cooperation." It turned to Elias. "Human, if we allow your people full membership in the Galactic Union, will you act with responsibility?" Elias straightened. His side ached from the fight. But he ignored it. This moment was far more important. "Humanity does not seek war," he said firmly. "We do not wish to conquer or destroy. We seek alliances. We seek progress. We seek a future where all species stand together, not against each other." The High Chancellor studied him for a long moment. "Strong words," she said, "but are they true?" Elias met her gaze. "Let us prove it." More discussion followed. Some representatives were still hesitant. Others were already convinced. Eventually, the High Chancellor raised her hand again. "The Council will vote," she declared. "The question is simple. Shall humanity be granted full membership in the Galactic Union, with all the rights and responsibilities that come with it?" A floating display appeared above the chamber, showing the voting results in real time. One by one, representatives cast their votes. At first, it seemed uncertain. Some of the more cautious species voted no, still wary of humanity's unpredictable nature. But then, the Kellen voted yes. The Dralkarn, after some hesitation, also voted yes, honoring Krovik's word. More followed. Elias watched as the votes counted up. His heart pounded, not from fear, but from the weight of the moment. And then, it was done. The final count appeared on the display. Yes, 67%. No, 33%. The High Chancellor turned back to Elias. "The vote has passed. Humanity is now a full member of the Galactic Union." A wave of emotions hit Elias at once. Relief, pride, exhaustion. He had done it. Humanity had done it. Some aliens clapped politely. Others remained silent, clearly not happy with the result. But it didn't matter. Humanity had secured its place among the stars. The High Chancellor spoke again. "Captain Vance, your people will be given the full rights of any member species. However, with those rights come responsibilities. See that you do not waste this opportunity." Elias gave a respectful nod. "We won't." As he stepped away from the center of the room, he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had won the right to stand among the stars. Now, they had to prove they truly belonged. The weight of the decision still hung in the air. Humanity was now a full member of the Galactic Union. But the reaction in the chamber was mixed. Some representatives had accepted the outcome with respect, while others remained silent, clearly unhappy. Elias Vance stood tall, despite the dull ache in his ribs from the duel with General Krovik. He had fought for humanity's place in the galaxy, and he had won. But the real challenge was just beginning. The High Chancellor turned toward him. "Captain Vance, you and your delegation may now take your official seats in the Union chambers. A new era begins today." A section of the circular council seating lit up, a place that had remained empty until now. It was a symbolic gesture, but an important one. Elias stepped forward, accompanied by a small group of human diplomats who had been waiting outside. They took their seats, finally among the galactic powers as equals. Some representatives nodded in approval. Others whispered among themselves. General Krovik, standing near his own delegation, gave Elias a single approving nod. It wasn't friendship, but it was respect. A divided council. Despite the victory, tensions remained. One of the council members, a tall, insect-like alien with deep blue eyes, leaned forward. This vote may have passed, but let us not be blind to the risks. Humanity is still unpredictable. Their history of war and conflict cannot be ignored. A fish-like alien from the Service Collective agreed. We have taken a great gamble. If humans become aggressive in the future, we may regret this decision. Before Elias could respond, the Kellen representative, the bird-like diplomat who had supported humanity, spoke. Every species here has a history of war. The Dralkarn, the Cirrus, the Vorthal, all of them have fought battles in the past, yet they were given a chance. Why should humans be treated differently? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. Elias took the opportunity to speak. We understand your concerns, he said. We won't deny our past, but we also won't let it define us. Humanity has fought wars, yes, but we have also built, explored, and protected others. Give us the chance to prove who we really are. The High Chancellor observed the room carefully. The vote stands. Humanity is now one of us. We must look forward, not backward. The discussion gradually moved to other topics: trade agreements, security concerns, and diplomatic missions. But Elias knew that not everyone was convinced. Some council members still saw humanity as a potential threat, and threats in the political world were often dealt with before they could grow too strong. A warning in the shadows. Later that evening, after the official ceremonies had ended, Elias walked through the grand halls of the Galactic Union complex. He was deep in thought, considering what humanity's next move should be, when he heard footsteps behind him. Turning, he found himself face to face with a hooded figure. The being was covered in a dark cloak, its face hidden in shadows. You fought well today, human, the figure said in a low, almost mechanical voice. But do not mistake this victory for safety. Elias narrowed his eyes. Who are you? The figure ignored the question. There are those who do not want humanity in the Union. They will not challenge you openly, but they will not sit idle either. Be careful who you trust. Elias took a slow breath. He had expected opposition, but this felt like something more. Is that a threat? A warning, the figure replied. Your people are strong, but strength alone does not win political battles. Stay vigilant. Before Elias could ask anything else, the figure turned and disappeared into the dimly lit corridors. Elias exhaled, his mind racing. Humanity had earned its seat at the table, but the real fight had just begun. Someone somewhere was already plotting against them. And if there was one thing humanity had learned from its long history, it was this. Survival was not just about strength. It was about being ready for what came next. Elias Vance sat in his new seat within the Galactic Union chamber, but despite the honor, he felt no sense of ease. The words of the hooded figure echoed in his mind. They will not challenge you openly, but they will not sit idle either. Be careful who you trust. Humanity had won its place, but enemies still lurked in the shadows. As the council continued discussing trade agreements and border security, Elias studied the room. Some representatives had accepted humanity, but others remained wary. The insect-like Vorthal, the fish-like Cirrus Collective, and a few others had been the most vocal against humans joining the Union. Could one of them be behind the warning? He didn't have proof, yet, but his instincts, honed from years in military service, told him that something was coming. The silent attack. That night, Elias returned to his quarters within the Union complex. The room was sleek, made with advanced alien materials, but had been adjusted to human comfort. He placed his communicator on the desk and was about to pour himself a drink when a small alert blinked on his datapad. Unauthorized access detected. Security override attempt. Elias's body tensed. Someone was trying to break into the human delegation's private database. He quickly activated the system firewall, locking out the intruder. Then, using the trace function, he followed the digital footprint of the hacker. The source was masked, bouncing across different alien networks. But Elias had seen such tactics before. This was no amateur. Someone with serious resources was behind this. And then suddenly, the connection was cut from the other side. Whoever had done this knew they had been discovered. A moment later, his door chime rang. Elias moved cautiously, his hand hovering near the pulse pistol at his side. He opened the door to find Alira Tanis, the Kellan diplomat who had supported humanity's entry into the Union. Her large bird-like eyes darted down the hallway before she stepped inside. "Captain Vance, we need to talk." Elias closed the door behind her. "I'm guessing this isn't a social visit." Alira's feathers ruffled slightly, a sign of unease. "You're being watched." Elias folded his arms. "I already figured that out. Someone just tried hacking into our database." Alira's eyes widened. "Then they're moving faster than I thought." She took a breath before continuing. "Not everyone in the Union was happy about the vote. Some believe humans will disrupt the balance of power. There is a faction within the Council that operates in secrecy. They don't make threats. They make problems disappear." Elias's jaw tightened. "And let me guess, they don't want humanity in the Union." Alira nodded. "I don't know their full plan, but I know this. They won't stop at hacking. They will try something more direct." Elias exhaled slowly. He had expected political opposition, but this was different. Someone was actively working against humanity, and now they knew that he was aware of it. The first move. The next morning, the council chamber was filled with tension. Elias could feel the shift in energy as he walked inside. The High Chancellor had called for an emergency meeting. As soon as the session started, a Cirrus Collective representative stood. His voice, though soft, carried weight. "We have uncovered troubling information," he said. "It appears that classified council data was accessed illegally last night, and the trace leads directly to the human delegation." A wave of murmurs spread across the room. Accusations were already forming. Elias immediately stood. "That's a lie," he said firmly. "It was our systems that were attacked. Someone is trying to frame us." The Cirrus representative's fish-like eyes blinked. "That is a convenient excuse." General Krovik leaned forward. "The human speaks with confidence. If there is an accusation, then proof must follow." The High Chancellor raised a hand, silencing the debate. "We will conduct a full investigation." Her golden eyes landed on Elias. "Captain Vance, until this matter is resolved, your delegation's access to secure files will be restricted." Elias clenched his fists under the table. This was exactly what his enemies wanted, to weaken humanity's position before they could even settle in. As the meeting continued, Elias knew one thing for certain. The real battle had begun, and it was being fought in the shadows. Elias Vance sat in the council chamber, keeping his expression neutral as the High Chancellor announced the restrictions on humanity's access to secure data. He could feel the weight of the accusations pressing down on him. "Someone is setting us up," he thought. The Cirrus representative, the one who had accused humanity of the security breach, observed him with unreadable fish-like eyes. Other council members whispered among themselves. Some looked skeptical of the accusation, while others already seemed convinced of humanity's guilt. Elias knew this was a calculated move. First, someone had hacked into their systems. Then, within hours, a false trace was placed on them. It was too perfect. Someone was manipulating events to turn the Union against humanity. But who? And why? An unexpected ally. After the session, Elias left the chamber with careful steps. His instincts told him he was being watched. As he turned a corner into a quieter hallway, a familiar figure was waiting for him. Alira Tanis, the Kellan diplomat who had warned him before. "You were right," Elias said in a low voice. "They made their move." Alira's feathers ruffled slightly. "And they will not stop here. The goal is not just to discredit humanity. It is to remove you entirely." Elias narrowed his eyes. Do you know who's behind this? Elira hesitated, then nodded. There is a faction operating in the shadows, made up of multiple species. They believe humanity will disrupt the balance of power. They do not want to risk a war, so they are using political sabotage instead. Elias exhaled slowly. Any idea what their next move is? Elira's large eyes studied him carefully. They need more than accusations. If they want to eliminate humanity completely, they will need something bigger, something that cannot be denied. Elias clenched his jaw. Then we need to move first. A risky plan. Back in the human delegation's private quarters, Elias gathered his team. The room was secure, soundproofed against any potential spying. We're being set up, Elias said, looking at his officers and diplomats. They planted false evidence against us, and the council is already divided. If we don't act now, we could lose everything. A woman named Dr. Mira Lawson, a cybersecurity specialist, nodded. I checked the logs. The hack didn't come from us. But whoever did it used advanced masking techniques. If we can break through that, we might find the real source. A tall, broad-shouldered man named Lieutenant Darius Kane crossed his arms. We need more than data. We need proof, something the council can't ignore. Elias agreed. Then we find out who's really behind this, and we expose them before they can strike again. Mira tapped on her tablet. I'll need time to break through the masking. But if they're smart, they'll try to destroy the evidence before we can get to it. Elias thought for a moment. Then let's make some noise. If they know we're onto them, they might panic, and that's when they'll make a mistake. Darius grinned. I like the sound of that. A dangerous move. Elias knew the next step was risky, but he had no choice. That night, he made an official request to the council. I demand an independent security audit of all recent data breaches within the Union network, he announced before the chamber. If humanity is under suspicion, then every species should be examined as well. The request caused an immediate reaction. Some representatives shifted uncomfortably. Others looked outright angry. The Ceres representative stood. Are you suggesting that the rest of us are guilty? Elias met his gaze. I'm suggesting that if justice is truly fair, then no one should be above suspicion. The High Chancellor considered the request. An independent investigation is a serious matter. It will take time. Elias nodded. Then let's begin immediately. As the council session ended, Elias caught the glance of the Ceres representative. His expression remained calm, but something in his cold, fish-like eyes told Elias everything he needed to know. He was afraid. Whoever was behind this, they were running out of time. And Elias was going to make sure they had nowhere left to hide. Elias Vance walked through the dimly lit corridors of the Galactic Union complex, his mind focused on the plan. His demand for an independent investigation had sent shockwaves through the council, and he knew his enemies would not sit quietly. If they were willing to sabotage humanity's reputation, they would do anything to stop the truth from coming out. Back in the human delegation's quarters, Mira Lawson was working non-stop on the data breach. Lieutenant Darius Kane stood guard, his sharp eyes scanning for any sign of trouble. We're getting close, Mira muttered, her fingers dancing across the screen of her tablet. Whoever covered their tracks did a good job, but not good enough. I've managed to break through the first layer of encryption. The real source of the attack is hidden behind another barrier, but... She trailed off, her eyes widening. Elias leaned over. What is it? Mira took a deep breath. The signal. Whoever hacked our system, they were inside the Galactic Union's own network. Elias's expression hardened. So it wasn't just an outsider trying to frame us. Someone from inside the Union is involved. Darius clenched his fists. That means it could be anyone. Someone high up. Mira nodded. I need more time to trace it further, but they know we're looking. If they realize we're this close, they might try to shut everything down. Elias knew what that meant. Then we move fast. The assassins strike. Just as he spoke, The lights in the room flickered. Then, an emergency alarm blared through the hallways. Elias instinctively reached for his weapon. Something's wrong. Darius moved toward the door. Stay alert. Before anyone could react, the security system in their quarters was overridden, and the doors slammed open. A tall, shadowy figure rushed inside, moving with deadly precision. In one hand, it held a plasma blade that crackled with energy. An assassin. Darius barely had time to block the first strike with his armed guard, the force sending him stumbling back. Elias fired his pulse pistol, but the attacker dodged with inhuman speed, twisting to avoid the shots. Mira ducked behind a table, trying to keep the data safe while Elias and Darius fought. The assassin lunged at Elias, the plasma blade swinging toward his chest. Elias barely managed to sidestep, feeling the heat of the weapon passing inches from his body. He countered with a quick punch to the side, but the assassin absorbed the blow like it was nothing. Darius recovered and tackled the attacker, slamming them into the wall. "Who sent you?" he growled. The assassin didn't answer. Instead, they twisted free, flipping backward with unnatural agility. Before they could strike again, Elias fired another shot, this time hitting their shoulder. The energy pulse sent the assassin staggering. But instead of fighting further, the attacker reached into their cloak and threw down a small device. A blinding flash filled the room. By the time Elias's vision cleared, the assassin was gone. The final piece of the puzzle. Breathing hard, Elias turned to Mira. "Tell me you still have the data." Mira nodded. "They tried to delete it remotely, but I was faster." She typed rapidly, and I finally cracked the last layer of encryption. Elias leaned in. The screen displayed a name, a location, everything they needed. His stomach tightened as he read it. The real culprit behind the sabotage was revealed. The Cirrus Collective. More specifically, Councillor Varric, the very same Cirrus representative who had accused humanity. Darius let out a low whistle. So that fish-faced politician was behind this all along. Elias clenched his jaw. He tried to frame us, and when that failed, he sent an assassin to erase the evidence. Mira turned to him. "What now?" Elias didn't hesitate. "We take this straight to the High Chancellor." Mira exhaled. "And if Varric tries something else?" Elias's expression was cold and determined. "Then we make sure he doesn't get the chance." The final battle wasn't going to be fought with weapons. It was going to be fought with the truth. Elias Vance moved through the grand halls of the Galactic Union, his pace steady but purposeful. He carried a datapad in his hand, containing undeniable proof of Councillor Varric's crimes. By his side, Lieutenant Darius Kane and Mira Lawson walked with the same determination. The High Chancellor had called for an emergency council session. News of the assassination attempt had spread, but no one knew yet who was behind it. Elias planned to change that. As they entered the chamber, the murmurs of various alien representatives filled the air. Some still doubted humanity, while others were simply waiting to see how this crisis would unfold. Councillor Varric, the Cirrus representative, sat calmly in his seat, his fish-like eyes betraying no emotion. But Elias could feel the tension in the room. Varric knew what was coming. The moment of truth. The High Chancellor raised her hand, signaling for silence. "Captain Vance, you requested this session. You claimed to have information regarding the recent security breach and the attack on your delegation. Speak." Elias stepped forward, his voice strong and steady. "Members of the Council, for weeks now, humanity has been under suspicion. We were accused of hacking into the Galactic Union's security systems, and because of that, our access to important data was restricted. But today, I bring the truth." He tapped on his datapad, and a holographic projection appeared in the center of the chamber. Lines of code, security logs, and traced signals filled the air. Mira stepped forward. "These are the real logs from the security breach. After extensive analysis, we discovered that the attack on our systems did not come from humanity. It came from within the Galactic Union's own network. Gasps filled the chamber. Some representatives leaned forward, their eyes locked onto the projection. Elias continued. We traced the source of the breach. The signals were masked, rerouted through multiple networks, but the truth always leaves a trail. He turned toward Varric. The attack was orchestrated by none other than Counselor Varric of the Cirrus Collective. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Varric remained still, but his fingers curled slightly on the table. The High Chancellor narrowed her golden eyes. Counselor Varric, do you deny these claims? For a moment, the Cirrus representative remained silent. Then, slowly, he stood. These accusations are outrageous, he said, his voice smooth but tight. Do you truly believe that I, a member of this esteemed council, would risk my position for such actions? Elias didn't hesitate. We also have footage from the Union security system. He tapped his datapad again, and the hologram changed to show an intercepted transmission. The audio played, clear and unmistakable. Varric's voice. The humans are a threat. If the vote cannot be undone, then they must be removed by other means. The evidence was undeniable. Silence filled the chamber. Varric's calm expression finally cracked, his face darkening with anger. You fools. He spat. Humanity is dangerous. If they remain in the Union, they will change everything. We have lived in balance for centuries, and they will destroy that. I did what had to be done to protect the galaxy. The High Chancellor's gaze was unyielding. You attempted to sabotage a newly admitted member. You tried to frame them. And when that failed, you sent an assassin to eliminate the evidence. Varric's eyes darted around, realizing there was no escape. The High Chancellor stood. Counselor Varric, you are hereby stripped of your position and placed under arrest. The Cirrus Collective will answer for this betrayal. Guards moved in, surrounding Varric as he was led away. Humanity's triumph. As the chamber settled, the High Chancellor turned to Elias. Humanity has endured much in these past weeks. Today, you have proven not only your innocence, but also your resilience. She gestured to the human delegation's seats. Let this serve as a reminder to all. Humanity is here to stay. A slow ripple of applause spread across the chamber. Even General Krovic, the warrior who had once fought Elias in the duel, gave a respectful nod. Elias took his seat, the weight of the battle finally lifting. Humanity had faced its first true test in the galactic political arena, and they had won. But Elias knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had earned its place, but the galaxy was vast, and challenges would continue to arise. With a determined gaze, he looked toward the future. Because if there was one thing humanity excelled at, it was surviving the impossible.